So Oleksandr Usyk, the man with the crazy eyes, just had his successful heavyweight debut against Chazz Witherspoon, winning in the 7th round. I think all things considered, the changes of opponent, the injury, the delays, the fact that rust had probably built up a little bit in those joints, that he looked pretty good. He started, as you'd expect, assertively, carefully. The footwork was there. He picked up the pace. And then after 7 rounds, Witherspoon didn't really want to know much more. Now, after this opponent, a lot of people are picking up the fact that perhaps Usyk doesn't seem to have the biggest punch. We know that. We know that his 70% plus KO ratio probably flatters him a bit that he had at cruiserweight, or I should say rather that he built up at cruiserweight. We know he's not a one-punch guy anyway. He's a guy who mainly works you over, frustrates you, and just out-generals you. And it's the out-generaling part of you that he's really going to have to use against the big boys. I don't think he needs to have more fights. I don't think he needs to bulk up. 215 pounds is just fine. That is what he's going to have to use to keep those fleet feet. And with him being already, what, 31, 32... he's only going to get slower, he's only going to get less fluid, and that is his main weapon against the big boys. So, I don't think he needs these mid-range fights now. I don't think he needs to fight guys in the top 10. I think he can go for it, and his skill set is going to be more than enough if he can bring the whole performance together. It's all about the angles, it's all about the fluidity, the work rate. There's a lot of parallels with him and Evander Holyfield, of course, because Holy is probably the best ever cruiser, but there's a difference here. And that is that Holyfield had to bulk up when he went to heavyweight. Because of his style, he preferred to have it out with you. He preferred to have wars. Yes, Evander had great footwork. He had a great bounce to him. He had great counter shots. And he could probably crack a bit more than Usyk. But when he got hit, it was in his fighting personality to have it out with you. Slug it out with guys much bigger than him. Usyk doesn't operate like that. Yes, he has spite. But a key difference between him and Evander is that when Usyk presses you, he lets his hands go, when he pins you on the ropes, he's always thinking the exit strategy. Where am I going to move after this? Because I ultimately want to box. So you'll see him throw quite a lot of shots, maybe even beat someone up, but he's throwing them mostly at arm's length. He doesn't like to get in too close and start hooking. And he's touching you, then he'll slip, move, re-establish the distance, then it's back to boxing. Because that's his fighting personality. Now, it's those skills that could possibly overcome the bigger boys. The problem for me isn't going to be a lack of size or power. It's more fundamental. The southpaw killer, the straight right hand, I think is what could possibly derail Usyk's chances at heavyweight. He was hit by quite a few right hands against Tony Bellew in his last fight at cruiserweight. And against Witherspoon then, who of course wasn't very spectacular, quite old. He even touched Usyk a few times with that right hand. There's a little bit of a flaw there. Probably not as glaring as, say, Muhammad Ali's openness to left hooks back in the day, but Usyk can walk in, be a bit square, and ping, he'll get hit by the right hand. Now, he could be absolute poison to somebody like Joshua, who's so much stiffer and just doesn't have fundamentally what Usyk has. They're polar opposites in that sense. But something Joshua does have is he sets himself and he throws textbook power punches very well. He throws a nice, quick, straight counter cross. And he would only really need one or land it really sweetly in a losing fight to possibly beat Usyk, turn the fight on its head. Even more so with Deontay Wilder. And it's not just the power with Deontay Wilder's right hand. An underrated aspect of the Bronze Bomber is the speed. He uncoils it very quickly. So Usyk's style, again, might be poison for Wilder. But he's a little bit open to that straight right. It's the punch that tends to ping him the most. And against Wilder, boom. I don't care if he is tough. We have seen that Wilder can just flatten you. So, that is going to remain the danger for Usyk as he goes forward. But I don't think he needs to bulk up. I don't think he needs to fight a Joseph Parker, a Dylan White, a Chisora. I think he just needs to get on with it. Now, where he fits in with all this, I don't know. We've got Joshua Ruiz 2 to go. We've presumably got Wilder Fury to go as well. And then I don't know who they want to fight after that, so I don't know where Usyk is going to fit into this. I'm sure he's going to get a big fight next year. Who he fights next, though, I don't know. So maybe he is going to have to fight a Chisora, a Parker. And then maybe we will see more kind of where his level is at. But ultimately, we possibly could be looking at the best heavyweight on the planet. And if Usyk, fast forwarding a bit, but if he did manage to prove himself the man as well, he would really show that the whole bigger is better theory in heavyweight is no longer in vogue.